I'm going to show you how I do two different money piece placements. This first one is a little bit more bold at the top than the next one, but it's still kind of thin and then definitely gets thicker as it comes down. So I'm going to start by foiling right at her part, and I want to make a very thin section of the front hairline just to make sure I get all the hairs in that I want. And then I'm going to weave it, and I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of hair out. This is just gonna, like, you never really want to put every piece of hair in there, even if it's just a tiny bit that you leave out, because if you put every single piece in the foil, as that hair grows out, it is going to be like a platinum retouch from the scalp if you don't have any hair coming down. And believe it or not, this is not going to take away from how bold it's going to look in the end, unless you are literally pulling down like half the amount that you're coloring. So for me, whenever I'm deciding on the thickness of the money piece, I really don't think there's just like a rule of thumb that you stick with, except for, you know, if you're going over like 5 foils, you probably are getting into more of like a thicker up to the scalp piece. So I wouldn't, I'd be kind of like weary of doing that unless they're showing you like a really, really bold money piece. So with her, obviously this is a mannequin, but most people at the very front hairline, their hair is so fine that even the first few foils, like, they're almost just for like blending that hairline, but they're not really creating that kind of like bold look from the front. So after the first 2, normally I would say, okay, now you're really getting into bold territory. But on a mannequin like hers, her hair is super, super thick around the front. So maybe I just need to use 3 foils. Maybe I just do 2 foils. But on her, I'm going to do 3 all the way up to the scalp. And I just felt like that was enough hair for that picture. And then after the 3rd foil, this one I'm going into my 4th foil. I'm going to still weave out just like normal, but I'm going to tease and I'm going to feather up. And as I'm feathering up, I am leaving a few little gaps in between, but some pieces are coming all the way up. And that's just to kind of start shattering the look of all the way to the scalp, but still kind of doing that. And then on this one, again, I'm going to weave and tease like I did the last one. And with my placement feathering up, I think I do the same thing again. Yeah, all the way up on areas and leaving some with a little bit of a shadow. Okay, so now I'm done with that money piece. So for this first look, because it was so bold at the ends, I would literally take this whole thing, tease it, and then weave it after that and just leave some little strands. Now, if someone has super, super thick hair right here, you may just have to do this in a few sections, but I still would try to get like all of this hair in the front in there, and that's going to create that boldness coming down. Also, excuse me on this part because I was using conditioner and not lightener, and it was kind of a little bit harder to feather up using that. Okay, so I don't think I actually foil this part. We'll see, but it's been a little bit since I did this video. But on the sides right here, what I'm showing you is like this piece. This also needs to be tipped out on both sides to create that look that that girl had. Now, let's say you're doing more of an express foil after this. You can kind of go in and just weave some pieces up going up to her part, and then you can tease out the sides. And that will be like a really pretty change for her without doing too many foils. Okay, so this is the next look, and this is a very, very thin piece from the top. And then, yes, it does get a little bit thicker, but remember, I'm literally just doing the money piece placement mostly. I may go into like a little bit after that, but what you want to do after that section to create those balayage pieces, I feel like most people feel more confident about that part. It's just like the money piece and how thick to do it and how to make it look like that stresses people out. This mannequin's hair is not ideal for this look because she does have like shorter pieces in the front compared to the picture, but this is still, I'll kind of talk through the idea of that, but I'm going to start by weaving again in the front hairline, but I'm going to do about half as much leaving out. So half and half. Half goes into the foil, half stays out. I'm going to go ahead and start by teasing. Okay, so with the feathering, I'm still going to come up almost all the way to the top. Some of the tiniest little pieces are going to touch all the way to the top, but I don't want them all to on this very first foil. And then the next foil, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I can take a little bit of a bigger section because I am weaving and teasing, but just don't get too crazy with it, or you could have some really big chunks, you know, coming up to the top, even though you weave and tease them. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 foils total on this part, but each foil that I do, I'm going to be a little bit lower on the feathering part, just so it shadows more as it goes back, but you're still getting that boldness as it comes down. Okay, for this part, it would be nice if this was a lot longer, and in that case, I would tip all of this out. Let's say it was like down here. In that picture, her hair was longer in the front, so you could tip all of this out, and then that would give a really nice framing piece. And but since there is not a lot of that, if it were me, I would probably, like, if she wanted to see, you know, more boldness as it comes down, I would probably, like, come over here and do, like, a piece right here. Okay, but you don't want to come up too high with it. It's almost a connection of what you did. So I would come up right here, and then I would just like feather up a little bit more towards the face, and then down a little bit. And again, that's because she has bangs in the front. So if you had someone who came in with a picture like that, like, you don't want to make their bangs completely solid blonde, because that just, like, I would almost leave that, because this is going to be enough, and then she can have that boldness even like around her face. So I would talk to them about that if they do have bangs. But if she did not have bangs and this was the length of her hair, I would definitely tip that out, because in the picture it got a tiny bit bolder. So if it were long, I would still weave it out and leave some behind though, because it is still somewhat subtle. Now, if it got really, really thick blonde towards the ends, you would want to tip out every single piece.